So let's take a look at the protective tissue, which is nothing but a function of simple permanent tissue. When we talk about the protective tissue, it includes two type of tissues. The first one is epidermis and the another one is the cork. So let's just begin with the epidermis. So we know this epidermis is nothing but a type of simple permanent tissue and its function is protective in nature. So when we talk about the epidermis, it is going to form the outer covering of the entire plant. So it is forming one cell thick covering over all the parts of the plant. So in this image you can see that this is nothing but the epidermis. So these are the epidermal cell and the covering which it is forming is called as the epidermis. So this is the lateral view and this is the surface view of the epidermis. Let's see the characteristics of epidermis. So this epidermis, that is a single layer, is formed up of the living cell and we can see that it is a single layer covering the entire plant. So let's just observe here. This is a single layer. This is a single layer, right? And we can see that aerial part of the plant, this epidermis is covered with one more layer which is waterproof, non-cellular and waxy, and we have given it a name and we call it as cuticle. It is going to play a very important role in prevention of water loss. We can also see that this epidermis cell is continuous, but in middle we can see that there are some gaps. So this gap over here, this has been given a name. It is called as stomata. Singularly, we can call it as stoma. So we can see, especially we can observe this in the case of leaves. So this leaves epidermis has certain holes or pores like thing. We call it as stomata. Now we can see that this stomata is guarded by the two cells, this cell and this cell. These cells or these bean shaped cells are called as the guard cells. They are called as the guard cells and they are the one which are responsible for opening and closing of the stomata. The function of stomata is to exchange the gases. Moving ahead, function of epidermis. So the first function we can say is the protection. So epidermis is going to protect the underlying tissue from mechanical injury, from chemicals, from infection, from outside weather condition. So the first function of epidermis is protection. Then we have also seen that there is a layer called as cuticle. This cuticle is going to prevent the water loss and desiccation. So this cuticle being waxy, it is going to keep a check on rate of transpiration and evaporation, preventing its wilting. Then we have also seen about the stomata, that on the epidermis of the leaves there are certain openings or pores which we call as stomata, which are helping in the gaseous exchange, which is helpful for the process of respiration and photosynthesis. Then we have the next type of tissue which is called as the cork. So when we talk about the cork, so in all dicot stems on roots, you can see that there is a protective tissue on the periphery which we call as the cork cell. So this cork cell are dead cell. We have seen that epidermis was the living cell, but when we talk about the cork, this cork cells are dead and they are very closely packed. Since they are closely packed, they will not have any intercellular spaces and their thick wall are deposited by the waterproof waxy substance which is called as suberin. So because of the suberin deposition, you can see that there will be no intercellular space. And since there is no intercellular space and deposition of lots of suberin, these cells would be impervious to water and air. That means air and water could not pass through it. We can see the function of cork. So this cork first function is going to be protection. So this cork is going to protect the plant from infection, mechanical injury and from desiccation. Now we can see that this image over here, here we can see that on the cork there are some openings. So these things are called as lenticels. So these lenticels are the one which are present at the outer surface of the cork, and they are going to help in the aeration of inner tissues. That means it would be responsible for exchange of gases in this part.